Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ben with Irritable Gardens. Today, I have a very nice one for you. Today, I want to share with you 6 mistakes I made as a new gardener. I was happy to have land at the backyard of our house, but there were some things I didn't know as a new gardener, and I made mistakes. So today, I want to share those 6 mistakes with you. So as a new gardener, you will not do the mistakes that I did. So here we go. I didn't know anything about agricultural zone. I didn't know that America was divided into different agricultural zones. I'm from Nigeria. In Nigeria, we don't know anything about agricultural zone. We know that there's the south of Nigeria is tropical, and the north of Nigeria is opposite. So there are some things we can plant up north that we cannot plant in the south. There are things we can plant in the south that we cannot plant up north of Nigeria. But getting to America, I never knew that America is divided into agricultural zones. So as a new beginner, know your agricultural zone. That will help you to know what type of plants you can grow in your zone. Another mistake I made is not knowing the plants that do well in my zone. Now we have zone 5, zone 6, zone 7, zone 8, zone 9, and zone 10 in America. How to know your zone is go to any agricultural website and they will ask for your zone. Put in your zip code. When you put in your zip code, then that will help you to know your zone. And then get to know the plants that will do well in your zone. Let me give you an example. I went to St. Lucia, Florida for a vacation. And I went to their Home Depot to look for palm trees because it reminded me of the south of Nigeria, especially where I come from in the south of Nigeria, the palm trees there. So I said, wow, St. Lucia reminds me of my place in Nigeria, my town in Nigeria with all these beautiful palm trees. So I went to Home Depot and I bought some palm trees. And this was in April, I think first week of April of that year. Came back to Georgia and we had the last frost in April. And after the frost, I came out one morning, all of my palm trees were dead, dried and dead. I said, what is this? So I went to the Home Depot in my city here in Georgia, if they have palm trees. And I found palm trees there, but it is different from the palm trees in Florida. And I've discovered that the palm tree in Home Depot here in my city in Georgia is a palm tree that can do well in my climate zone. The one I bought from Florida cannot survive the cold here. So I now bought the palm tree that will do well in my climate here in Georgia. And I succeeded to have palm trees at the front of the house just to remind me of Nigeria. So, know the plants that will grow in your climate, in your zone. Because if not, you will buy trees or plants that will not survive the cold here. If you buy tropical plants, they will not survive here. So it's good. Be careful when you go to big box stores. They sell all kinds of trees, citrus trees that you cannot grow in the ground here in Georgia. But if you just assume because they sell it in the store there, you can plant it in the ground, you'll be disappointed when the winter comes and you come out one morning and you see that your trees are dead. Just like my palm trees. I came out and I was shocked because I didn't know that that palm tree or the palm trees in Florida won't make it in the weather of Georgia. Some plants or trees, you can only plant them in containers here. So when it's winter time, you can take them inside. And when it's spring, you bring them outside. Another mistake I made is the plant and also not knowing anything about the plants and also not knowing about soil conditions. Let me talk about the plants. The first tree I ever planted was fig tree, brown turkey. In Nigeria, we don't have fig trees. I learned that now the former president has a fig trees because when he came to US, he was giving fig trees. So when he went back to Nigeria, he planted it in his personal house. So there are few people now that have fig trees in Nigeria. But when I was in Nigeria, there was no fig tree. The only time I know about fig tree is in the Bible. So when I went to, I can't remember if it was Home Depot or Lowe's, and I saw this tree and I looked at the name, it was fig tree. I said, ooh, the fig tree in the Bible. So I'm going to plant this. That was it. I don't have no knowledge about fig tree. What it will take for it to produce fruit, nothing. I just bought it because I've seen the tree that Jesus spoke to in the Bible. Yeah, it is. Fig tree, I just bought it. And also, I knew nothing about soil condition for the fig tree. So I just went, dug the ground, and planted it. I was happy. Now I have fig tree. I also bought other plants, blackberries, and I planted them in the ground without knowing the soil conditions for these plants. And because of that, some of your trees are not doing well because you plant your trees or your plants in the wrong soil. Some plants or trees will prefer soil that has alkaline. Some trees or plants prefer seed that has acid, acidic soils, or neutral soil. If you don't know that, and you buy these plants and trees and plant them in the ground or even in container, and and they are planted in the wrong soil condition or wrong soil type, it will affect them. I made a mistake until one day I watched a video on YouTube and the guy was talking about soil condition. I said, soil condition? So I went to a store to go and buy the kit to know what type of soil that you have. So I went, I bought it, I came and tested my soil. And I discovered that some of the plants I have in the ground don't like the soil that I planted them in. So what I did was to remedy the soil, do things to either bring it up to become acidic or bring it down to become alkaline for the plant. So that was another mistake I made. Another mistake that I made, not knowing anything about fertilizer. In the south of Nigeria, the soil is good. And most people plant things without fertilizer. And if you have to add fertilizer, mostly it's organic fertilizer, chicken manure or cow manure. So because of that, for 2 years, I planted stuff in the ground without fertilizing them. And they didn't do good as they should. But I didn't know that. I just assumed the way it was before I came to US. I just planted things for 2 years before I started watching YouTube videos. And that was where I learned. I learned on YouTube. Because the agricultural system in Nigeria is different from the agricultural system here. So you need to know the type of fertilizer you need, the NPK numbers, and when to apply different type of fertilizers. To know that you need slow release fertilizer, you need soluble fertilizer to help your trees and your plants to do well. Also, I made another mistake. Container gardening. I didn't know nothing about container gardening when I started. I went to the stores and I would see all these plants and I like them and I would just buy them. So I decided to leave some in containers, fig trees, fruit trees, and other plants. I didn't want to plant them in the ground. Just okay, I will have them in containers. And I didn't give them no fertilizer. I didn't feed them. I was only giving them water. As if the magic is in the water. No wonder I didn't get nothing. The only fig trees out of the fig trees and the fruit trees, it was only from fig trees I got fruit. Those were the ones I bought with Breba on them when I bought them from the stores. They had Breba on them, and that was why I bought them when I saw them with fruit. And I brought them home, left them in container, just giving them water. The water became the feed or the food that they needed. Those were the only ones that produced figs for me. All others did not produce figs. And do you know, I had think, if I'm not mistaken, I had 20 fig trees in containers without fertilizing them for 1 year. For 1 year, I never knew that I have to feed them. You see why I'm producing videos today? To help others. So, don't do the same mistake that I did, having container trees without knowing nothing about feeding them. Don't know nothing about fertilizer. Know nothing about NPK. So, don't be like me. Another mistake that I made, excuse me, was buying tissue culture plants without even knowing what they are. What is tissue culture plants? Tissue culture plants are plants that they use some techniques to remove the cells from the plants. And they use those cells to produce new plants. It's just like you want to clone another fig tree or a citrus tree with true cuttings. You can clone a plant through tissue culture system or through cutting. If you want to produce another brown turkey tree, what you do is you get the cuttings from the tree and you root it. So also tissue culture, they get the cells from the living plant and use those cells to produce another plant. And with tissue culture, you can produce so many plants quicker than cuttings. So I went on eBay and I saw some fig plants, different varieties, very cheap. And I didn't know that they were tissue culture. I bought them from Wellsprings Nurseries. And I didn't know that every plant you buy from Wellsprings Nurseries They are all tissue culture. And what made it bad for me was when I got to know that tissue culture, it takes about 3 years for a tissue culture plant or tree to produce fruits. I said, what? I will have to wait for 3 years? And also, I had them in containers. I was not feeding them, I was only giving them water. But there is a myth. There is a myth about tissue culture. It's not true. If you feed the tissue culture plants with the right soil, with the right fertilizer, they will produce fruit before 3 years. I have a tissue culture plant that is 1 year old and has figlets on it right now. I have another tissue culture, Texas Everbearing. This is the 2nd year and it has produced figs for the first time in 2 years. Let me burst your bubble. I have 2 tissue culture fig trees. They are 3 months old with fig bombs all over it. When I got these 2 plants, they were just as tall as my finger from the top to the bottom. 2 of them. They are 3 months old and they are covered with fig bombs. It shocked me to some extent. But I know the soil, if you have watched my video, my soil mix for fig trees in containers. Watch it and you will see my soil mix. If you have watched how I feed my fig trees with soluble fertilizer, watch it and you will see that my feeding regimen is wonderful. And that's why 3 months old tissue culture fig trees have fig bombs over them all. In the next maybe 2 or 3 weeks, it will become figs. Well, that's the myth that have been busted about tissue culture. But at first, I was worried, I was scared, I was not happy that for 3 years I will have to wait. Meanwhile, I was not even feeding them. I was giving them the magic water, which was just ordinary water, thinking that will help them to grow and produce fruit. No wonder there was no positive result. It was negative result I got. So, thank you for watching this video. Those are the 6 mistakes that I made that I can remember right now. Don't be like me if you're a new gardener. Share this video with those that want to start gardening and they don't have any idea. Share this video on your forums, on your platforms, so that it will help somebody. So that they won't be like me that suffered for 2 years. I was blessed to have in-ground trees, even though I didn't feed them for 2 years. I was able to get figs from them because they were getting nutrient from the ground. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of videos that will help you in your gardening. And also click on the notification bell. So every time I upload new video like this one, you will be notified. And I want to thank all my subscribers. I appreciate you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your questions. Let the questions keep coming. Let the comments keep coming. I appreciate your encouraging words. Thank you so much. And I will see you again in my next video. God bless you real good. And bye.